dreaming. 'Cause now that I'm here, what I feel motivates me with reason. I guess I've been dreaming. 'Cause now that I'm woke, everything that I see ain't what it seeming. I guess I've been dreaming. 'Cause now that I'm here, what I feel motivates me with reason. I guess I've been dreaming.
Oh. In there. Yeah, we in there. Peace and love to all the guys and gals in the high vibrating species on the planet. What it is, what it do, good people. How y'all living out there? Oh, gotta watch out for my cable right here. You know what I'm saying? It's got me. I feel like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm in a tight spot. You feel me? There's a lot of room in here, but I feel like I'm definitely in a tight spot with this cable, man. But we gonna make it do what it do, man. What it is, good people? How y'all living out there, man? What's up, man? What's busting? What's busting? Yes, sir. Oh, they out there going crazy. Yeah. What's busting, good people? How y'all living? Academies, what's up? Peace, love to you. You know what I'm saying? Come on in, y'all. Yeah. We back with another Blackwood. We got another Blackwood. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Lord Blackwood in the Great Tarasque Hunt of 83. Oh. Okay. How we living out there, y'all? We finna matter of fact, yeah, we good. All right, everybody good out there, man? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't suppose we got numerology, you know what I'm saying? I mean, 83, I mean, you know what I'm saying? 11, 1, that's 1. Let me see, maybe like, what is that, magical? I think that's what the 1 is, y'all. We may have a little bit. Hold on, one more. Hold on. Bear with me. You know what I'm saying? Okay, to make sure y'all come on in. We gonna get to them in just a second. Shout out. Come on in, get your ace in the back. You already know, ace in the back. You feel me? Because we're not on noun day. On not a noun. On not a noun day is we trying to hear you. All right. But anyway, so you know what I'm saying. 83. Spells out to be the 1. You feel me? Double 1. You know what I'm saying? But no, it don't. Actually, it comes out to be a 2. You know what I'm saying? But the 1 is there. You know what I'm saying? That 1. And I just looked at the 2. My bad. That's the High Priestess card. Secrets revealed, mysteries uncovered. Center balance that holds together eternal opposites, linked with the new moon and unrealized potentials. You feel me? That's where this hit. That's what we finna be hitting on. You know what I'm saying? With that feminine energy in the moon and Cancer in the 4th house. You feel me? Yeah, that's what we hitting on. You know what I'm saying? With the positive being easygoing, mild-mannered, patient. You know what I'm saying? Agreeable, considerate, cooperative, gracious, kind, a peacemaker, caring, you know what I'm saying? Persuasive, charming, receptive, diplomatic, understanding, and modest. Man, if you got those characteristics, dude, you know what I'm saying? Or ma'am, good for you. You know, keep that. Spread that love, please. You know what I'm saying? Spread that to the people. They could use it. You know what I'm saying? More people could use that. You feel me? In their lives. Trust me. Negative is the petty, the small-minded, the deceptive, the apathetic, the shy, the weak, the hoarding, the cruel, the super-sensitive, the impatient, the insincere motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Them uncooperative motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? The sly, inconsiderate motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? That sounds like a lot of people at the SCP Foundation. You know what I'm saying? And all them other little branches and you know what I'm saying? Shindigs that's in the occultic world, which, you know what I'm saying? Occult just means hidden. You know what I'm saying? That's all that is. In the hidden world. Do you feel me? That's just what it is. All right, so we got a couple occupations here. We got the poet, we got the musician, the psychic, the editor, the drafts person, a computer programmer, a botanist, a chemist. What is that? Is that statistician, butcher. All right, you know what I'm saying? Librarian, a secretary, engineer, a naval officer, a mediator, an accountant, a healer, a clerk, a designer, and so on and so forth. Let's see what else we got up in here. You know what I'm saying? Let's see what else we got up in here. The rulership. Do we got some rulership up in the thing? Yeah, we got some rulership over lakes, ponds, streams, water towers, public places, beaches, docks, harbors, canals, pretty much bodies of water. The colors it coordinates with is cream, green, and the white families. In the tarot, like I said, is the High Priestess. And again, the High Priestess card is secrets revealed and mysteries uncovered, center balance that holds together eternal opposites linked with the new moon and unrealized potential. Okay? That's how they go. That's how they roll. I don't know if it's going to help or not in this quest with Lord Blackwood this round, but we're going to find out. You know what I'm talking about? That's what we're here for. At least that's what I'm here for. And I know there's the others in the back that really don't want us over here doing what we're doing the way we're doing it. But it's okay. It's okay. Because we're not hurting anyone. Not harming anyone. Or anything. To just release a little bit of information. That's it. Information that you can gladly go seek and look up for yourself. Eventually you will get to the answers. I would just suggest, like I said in the previous video, is to just seek with a earnest heart, more genuine heart, the want to know for reasons of like more beyond wanting to know, but the want to know, man. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like it could help you. It could help release you from whatever maybe haunting your mind, attacking your mind. You know what I'm saying? That thought that's just in the back of your mind that you just can't get to. You know what I mean? So that's the quest that most people are on to better themselves. At least I hope, for the most part. You know what I'm saying? What people should be doing is trying to find themselves and get to know themselves better and better themselves. I mean, I too am on that journey and in a quest to better myself, and I do that through the knowledge of the wanting to know even about other things that maybe have nothing to do with me to the extent of I'm actually included, but maybe have something to do with me overall. And you know what I'm saying, the more I know about myself is the more I know about things that are around me. All right, so that's and then numerology can help you with that. So we got Lord Blackwood, and he's on another extravaganza. So we're gonna see what this guy's getting into. So Academates, I hope you got what you need, because I do. And without further ado, if you're new, just have a seat with us. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you joining us next to one of the Academates. Like, share, and subscribe if you're, you know what I'm saying, if you're feeling up to it. You know what I'm saying? We do got the shadow thing on us, so it would definitely help us with the algorithm. I don't ask me why, ask them. You know what I'm saying? So that's just what it is. That's what we dealing with, and we gonna roll with it. You know what I'm saying? So let's get this thing busting, shall we?
I've already read one tale featuring the great naturalist and explorer turned sea slug, Lord Blackwood.
Oh yeah?
But he's participated in a grand array of adventures throughout his life.
I know, right?
The previous tale featured Blackwood entering into the land of the unclean, also known as the alternate dimension of SCP-093. But this tale stays right here in this dimension. Before I get into the reading, however, I'll give some quick background info on the Tarasque, a creature featured in this tale. The Tarasque was a mythical creature hailing from the region of Provence in southern France.
Provence.
A famous story from the area describes it as a sort of dragon with a lion's head, 6 legs, a scaly tail ending with a stinger, and a body covered in a turtle's shell.
Hey man, why y'all splash this animal, dude? Man, what the fuck? What is that? Who made that thing? That's clearly splicing. Clearly. What in the... What?
It was said to be the offspring of the biblical Leviathan, a great sea serpent.
What? That?
As the story goes, the Tarasque arrived in the region and began devastating the landscape, so a king sent knights and catapults to slay it, but they failed. Instead, Saint Martha of Bethany, a biblical figure, went to the Tarasque and charmed it with hymns and prayers, making it harmless as she led it to the king's city.
Definitely not Leviathan.
The creature, still charmed, put up no resistance and was killed.
Oh no, you ain't doing that to
Saint Martha
Leviathan.
proceeded to convert the people of the city to Christianity, and they renamed the city to Tarasque in remembrance of the Tarasque, or so the story goes.
Boy, these people didn't snap.
The tale featured in this video, however, will be quite a bit different.
Excuse me.
I apologize in advance for my pronunciations of French names and places.
Don't worry about it.
May 14th,
I bet you plenty around here.
1883. I received a most curious missive in the post this morning. It has been 4 months since I returned to England, having nearly lost my life in endeavoring to become the first man to reach the summit of the foreboding and deadly Mount Everest. I've spent the time since in research and recovery here in London, nursing my wounds and documenting my memoirs of the harrowing trip up the mountain and my nearly fatal encounter with the creature I found there. A tale which...
Hey, man, you know, I was just thinking that, y'all, about the dude, about one of the SCP dudes that was up there, you know what I'm saying, on a certain level, when you got to a certain height, he up there, you feel me? I was just thinking about him. I was like, I wonder if he ran into old bro up there.
I fear may never be told outside these diaries, and I have not planned to embark again for distant shores until after summer has passed. That has changed, I fear, as the result of today's letter. It was a formal affair, written in a folded card like a wedding invitation, sealed in the finest envelope, and I present it to you below. To Lord Theodore Thomas Blackwood, CBE. Colonel Joseph d'Enfanté, L'Armée de Terre of the Republic of France, does hereby cordially invite you to participate in a hunt of a great and terrible creature that threatens the lives of thousands. The Tarasque, a creature great and terrifying, of late believed to be legend, has arisen and threatens the security of the land of Provence and of France itself. Colonel d'Enfanté has been authorized by the President of the Republic to pay a sum of 5 million English pounds to the man or men who shall slay this infamous beast. RSVP in care of Colonel d'Enfanté, number 22, Kensington Road, Knightsbridge, London. I immediately dashed off an acceptance and sent it out with the afternoon post. Though I have hunted foxes and elephants and every beast, great and small, in between, I had never heard of such a creature as the Tarasque, and certainly never had an opportunity to hunt one. I spent my afternoon in the study, poring over encyclopedia and tomes of history and mythology, before I found the term in a collection of folk tales regarding Saint Martha, sister to Mary Magdalene, who had supposedly calmed the beast with her song. The text described it as a vicious creature, a massive chimera that breathed fire and whose scaly hide repelled every blade, that killed without remorse and seemed only to wreak chaos for its own enjoyment. When the last delivery of the day came just before tea time, I had received an address and directions to attend a briefing the day after tomorrow in the city. I have always been a firm believer in the proposition that even in the most preposterous of myths, there lies a kernel of truth. Whether an ancient behemoth that breathed fire was bringing ruination to the south of France, I knew not. But I knew that the army and the president themselves were concerned enough to seek out a man such as myself, and were willing to offer a bounty that would finance a score of proper expeditions for the killing of a single beast. On Wednesday, I will learn why. May 16, 1883. Today I attended Colonel d'Enfanté's meeting, held in a private room in the city, at the club owned by Messrs. Marshall, Carter, and Dark. Lest the reader question my morality, I assure you that I am no member, dues paying or otherwise, of that association. I find their stock in trade offensive and deplorable, and their clientele even more so. But on this day, the windowless establishment was free of its usual throng of libertines and bohemians, replaced by a handful of officers and men in the uniforms of the French, a handful of our own soldiers guarding the door. Servants and waiters, apparently relieved to be in our company rather than that of their usual employers, offered drinks and hors d'oeuvres to their guests. Besides myself, there were 3 guests of honor at the meeting. There was an American, Mr. Roosevelt, a young man who has made for himself already quite a name as a hunter of big game in the American West. There was Mr. Dukov, a Russian I knew of by reputation as a scientist and historian. Lastly, there was another Englishman, the same Mr. Harris, whom readers of these pages may recall as he whom I matched wits with on the banks of the Nile in 1855. I will spare the reader the excruciating details of our past intercourse. Suffice it to say that Mr. Harris and I were schoolmates at Eton, that I regarded him then as little more than a common blackguard, and that what news I have heard of him since then has given me little reason to change my assessment of his personage. Colonel d'Enfantay, a short and middle-aged man who bore signs of great fatigue and worry, spoke briefly and elaborated on his reasons for calling on the 4 of us. The being that his government had come to call the Tarasque, he said, had first appeared the Sunday after Easter, near the village of Tarasque, named, most coincidentally, for the mythical beast itself, and had destroyed the town utterly, claiming several thousand souls in the process. The handful of survivors who escaped the devastation had described a great lizard, nimble and merciless, that had charged directly into the town square and destroyed everyone and everything in its path, crushing, smashing, and devouring people, livestock, and buildings alike. One man, a farmer whose wife and children had been ripped to shreds by the beast, claimed that it spoke to him in plain French, and told him of them, ils étaient répugnants. Since then, the colonel said, 3 outlying villages and countless farms in Provence had fallen to the Tarasque. It attacked without mercy or reason, killed indiscriminately, and left only devastation in its wake. The army had sent men and horses and cavalry against it. There were few survivors, and those who lived claimed the beast had been struck directly by artillery, and neither flagged nor missed a step, the hole in its chest seemingly knitting together as it charged their position. The entire region had been quarantined. Citizens were being evacuated by the thousands, and the army and the press were passing stories of plagues and Prussian revanchists, but his government feared the worst would soon come to pass. Nîmes, Avignon, and Arles were in danger if the beast continued to rage. The 4 of us, the colonel claimed, were the finest hunters and scientific minds available and known to his government. He knew not if we were capable of taking down such a monster, but between our expert knowledge and unique access to the finest tools and weapons known to science, he hoped we could succeed where his own forces had failed. I left the meeting with a stack of papers, details of the Army's knowledge of the Tarasque based on what reconnaissance they have to date endeavored. On Saturday, the 4 of us will board a steamer across the channel and travel to the epicenter of this pandemonium ourselves. Deeds, my loyal valet, has begun packing my bags, and is having the more exotic armaments in my arsenal prepared for shipping. I do not anticipate working with Mr. Harris any more than I anticipate shaking hands with the devil, but Messrs. Roosevelt and Dukov appear to be of sound mind and fine spirit, and with luck, our motley quartet shall return to England with a fortune in our pockets and a story to tell. May 20th, 1883. We disembarked in Avignon after an uneventful trip by train from Calais. It may seem strange for a globetrotter such as myself, but until this weekend I have never had occasion to travel to France. After all, it is a civilized place, lacking in the ancient mysteries and elusive game that is my passion, or so I would have thought. Mr. Roosevelt and I spent many hours sharing our tales of adventure, I find in him a true intellectual who understands what it means to be a naturalist. Mr. Dukov I find more difficult to talk to. He is a private man who prefers the company of his books and his studies to that of his fellows. He proudly displayed a variety of his own inventions he intended to test against the Tarasque. A gun that fires beams of electricity, a jellied kerosene that burns without exploding, and what he described as his latest prototype, a large rifle on a tripod, fueled by refined pitchblende, which I suspect is not entirely different than Mr. Moth's destabilizing muskets, one of which I had brought myself. I did my best to avoid speaking to Mr. Harris during the trip. I intend during our expedition to be no less than a gentleman, but the man leaves a sour taste in my mouth. When we boarded the train at Calais, I watched as he had a large crate loaded onto the train, which he told us contained his secret weapon. He refused to tell us what the box contained, but viewing it made me uncomfortable. The air seemed to chill as it was carried by. In any event, it is too large to fit in our wagon. For now, we shall be leaving it in a bank vault in Avignon. Our weapons and provisions have been loaded onto a wagon. Horses have been readied for us. Tomorrow, Colonel D'Enfonte will escort us to the edge of the quarantine zone. From there, he says, the four of us shall be on our own. He can spare no more soldiers, lest the beast attack the fortifications directly and break loose. May 21st, 1883. I have seen the horrors of war often enough in my years. I saw the wrath of the British Empire firsthand when I led troops in the Opium Wars. In Africa, I have seen native tribes fight to the last man, destroying everything in their path. In the Crimea, I barely escaped with my life as thousands of men fought and died and cities were laid bare. The destruction I saw there pales in comparison to what I have beheld in the Tarasque's wake. Avignon itself looked like a city at war, soldiers patrolling the streets, barricades at the edge of town. Not far outside the city, we reached the edge of the quarantine zone. Soldiers had been hard at work digging trenches, erecting fortifications. The young men keeping watch looked battle-scarred, as though they had seen indescribable horror. A constant stream of evacuees made their way out of the area, women and children, some with little more than the clothes on their back. Many looked confused and agitated, as if they had no clue why they were being removed from their homes. On the faces of others, there was no doubt. I asked on passing if any of them had yet seen the Tarasque. Only a few, the scouts and lookouts, had seen it from a distance, I was told, for nobody who had engaged the beast at close range was still alive. It had not yet dared to attack the perimeter the army had erected, but 2 days prior, a watchman told me, he had spotted it a mile from the front line, seemingly staring back at him. Mr. Harris grudgingly agreed to ride out alone and scout for the beast, while Mr. Roosevelt, Mr. Dukov, and I followed the road to Tarasque to learn what we could of the nature of our quarry. Tarasque itself was a scene of utter ruination. Bodies lay by the score in the streets where they had fallen. Much of the town had been consumed by fire. The town's famous castle and other stone buildings dashed to rubble, and massive holes torn in the walls that remained standing. We saw not a living soul. No man or woman, no livestock, nor vermin, nor birds or beasts of the field. Even the greenery of the town seemed to have been destroyed. I began to feel pangs of doubt in my stomach as we surveyed the scene. Could one creature have truly wreaked such destruction? We set up camp on the edge of the dead town. Mr. Harris returned by evening and informed us he had spotted the Tarasque to the southwest, near the village of Bellegarde, in the act of destroying a farmhouse. Its route, he said, had not been difficult to trace, for a swath of barren land seemed to lay a trail. Even the grass itself was not safe from the Tarasque's wrath. Tomorrow, we will follow the trail and engage the beast. May 22nd, 1883. We have met the Tarasque this day, and we are lucky to have escaped with our lives. We traveled southwest to Belleville, which we found in a state of destruction not unlike that of Tarasque Hunt itself. From there, we followed the creature's trail as it meandered south, then west, then northwest through the farmlands, drawing uncomfortably close to Nîmes. Shortly after midday, we spotted the creature in the distance. It was stationary, seeming to nap in the afternoon sun. It was a massive thing, longer than a whale and taller than a giraffe, and it looked to outweigh either. Its scales glistened in the sun, and its teeth, massive and shining, were bared as it rested among the chaos it had wrought. Had it wings, I would have called it a dragon. With our weapons in tow, we stealthily approached the beast to a range of less than 100 feet. Mr. Dukov set up his pitch-blende gun, which he claimed would take some time to charge before it could be fired, while Mr. Roosevelt and Mr. Harris prepared their elephant guns, and I readied my particle destabilizer. Behind a short fence demarcating one of the now abandoned farms, we drew straws, and it was agreed I would take the first shot at the abomination. Steadying my gun against the fence, I took careful aim for the sleeping Tarasque's head. I held my breath, made my final adjustment, and fired. The shot hit square and true, and we watched with delight as the top of the Tarasque's head was shorn clean off. The beast slumped to the ground, and I breathed a sigh of relief. In one shot, the beast that had killed thousands and menaced a nation was dead. Mr. Harris let out a cheer, and the dead beast came to life. It rose to its feet and turned in our direction. Blood, brains, and gore oozed from its skull as a head missing an eye stared us down and let out a blood-curdling roar before it charged at us faster than a bull elephant. Mr. Roosevelt and Mr. Harris barely had time to fire a round each at the beast before we were forced to scatter. Harris tossed aside his elephant gun for a smaller repeater he had been carrying and discharged a magazine into the Tarasque's flank. And we watched in horror as the wounds it took sealed themselves within seconds. Mr. Dukov was forced to shut down his pitch-blende gun before it could fully charge, and fired his electric rifle 3 times into the monster's open wound, stunning it for long enough for us to reach our horses. By the time we were on horseback, the beast was up again and charging us. Flesh and bone was knitting anew over the open cavity in its skull. I fired the particle destabilizer again at its foreleg and took it off entirely, hobbling it as it tried to chase us on 3 legs. We rode in 4 directions and agreed to meet behind the quarantine line. I saw the beast attempt to take off in pursuit of Mr. Roosevelt as the stump of its leg began to grow and take new form, but he was able to elude the Goliath, and by nightfall we were among the soldiers at the barricade, our prides injured, but otherwise in good health.
Wait. So you telling me every time y'all bust this thing and it grows some stuff back, it'll upgrade, and this is what it...
May 28th, 1883. Luck and providence have provided. Thus far, the Tarasque has made no effort to escape the quarantine area, and has proven content to ravage the abandoned farms of Provence, and feed liberally on the animals and plants left behind.
Man, look at this thing,
After our
boy.
second attempt to attack the Tarasque on the 23rd proved no more successful than the first, we have come to a conclusion that the beast cannot be killed simply by gunshot, or electrification, or setting it aflame, for the rate at which it heals its injuries is so great, and its tolerance for pain and mutilation so high, that even the mighty broadsides of the Royal Navy would have little...
Man, look at this thing, bruh. Hold on, cuz. Hold on now. Scorpion tail. Check. Turtle shell. Check. The horns of maybe an oxen. Check. This is horns on his head of some rhinoceros. Check. This clearly is like praying mantis right here. Check. Look at the... Bruh. What in the unnatural holy fuck is this? What is this? Man, this thing started out with a lion head. You understand me? A lion's head. And they done did a whole bunch of little things to it by shooting pieces off of it. And every time they do that, it grows it back. And it upgrades itself, or what?
The chance of destroying it before it could take their lives in trade. To slay the Tarasque, we determined, we would have to immobilize it, and deal such destruction upon it that it would be utterly annihilated before it could free itself. We discussed for several hours how such a thing could be achieved, before an old sergeant who had been manning the night watch begged our ears. The sergeant had, he said, fought in Vietnam when the natives there attempted to rebel against the French in '68, and had seen them make use of a trap that was elegant, easily disguised, and deadly. Mr. Roosevelt and I talked over the fine points of the idea well into the night, and the next day the four of us traveled into the field to lay our trap. We prepared our trap in the fields near Graveson, a village between Tarascon and Avignon, that the Tarasque had yet to lay waste to, and where the water table was amenable to our task. By careful observation we had judged that the beast stood about 9 feet at the shoulder, 6 feet wide, and 30 feet long. With the help of a few soldiers whom Colonel D'Enfante had grudgingly conceded to parting with, we dug a long trench in the field, wide and long enough to contain the beast, and deep enough to stop the beast climbing loose before the damage could be done. In the bottom of the pit we mounted steel rods, sharpened to a fine point, by the hundreds, each tipped with a noxious poison I had acquired in the Orient. Running lengthwise through the center of the pit, we built a wooden bridge, large and sturdy enough to accommodate a man on horseback, but not so sturdy that it would not break and shatter under the weight of the Tarasque. 4 days we were involved in the earthwork. The digging done, we laid a net across the top, and it was covered with grass and leaves. From a distance it looked to all the world like an ordinary patch of open land, beneath which lay doom. Mr. Harris has spotted the Tarasque not 2 miles from our location, and tomorrow we will spring the trap. Mr. Roosevelt has agreed to act as bait. He will approach the Tarasque on horseback and attack it once with his elephant gun, and once it gives chase, he will lure it to the pit. He is to gallop across the bridge and lure the Tarasque to follow him, and when it attempts to do so, it will surely fall into the pit. Messrs. Dukov and Harris and I, lying in wait out of sight, will then join Mr. Roosevelt at the pit's edge and unleash the full fury of our armaments onto it. Our rifles and shotguns, the particle destabilizer, Mr. Dukov's electric rifle. And provided it has charged safely, he shall make his first firing of the pitch-blende gun. Once our
So y'all ain't gonna tell us what facility this happened in? Y'all ain't gonna put us on game and tell us about that right there? And why that looks like a giant ass crow. So y'all ain't gonna tell us about that? Look, I mean, it got Buddy down there in the crunch down there. You understand me? Him gone. And other buddy over here getting on. I see the 3.6 right there too. I see that there. You know what I mean? That 9, I see that there. Yeah, feel me? But yeah, y'all don't want to tell us about this situation? Where can we get this
armament has been exhausted. We shall pour 4 barrels of Mr. Dukov's jellied kerosene into the pit and ignite it. And, Providence withstanding, nothing shall be left of the creature but ash and bone by sundown tomorrow. May 29th, 1883. Success.
Oh, you think?
The plan went off without a hitch. It was afternoon before Mr. Roosevelt could coerce the Tarasque into pursuing him. But surely enough, the reptilian behemoth fell into the pit, impaled upon the spikes, and was stuck while the 4 of us rained destruction from above. The monster let loose a screech from the pits of damnation itself as bullets and explosives tore its flesh loose bit by bit, and jellied kerosene burned slowly and stopped it regrowing. Mr. Dukov warned us to avert our eyes when he finally fired the pitch-blende gun, and his warning was justified. The blast was bright enough to blind, and a massive plume of smoke and fire erupted from the pit after he had pulled the trigger, seeming to blossom into a mushroom above us. By the time the fires had died down, a charred skeleton was all that remained. We have separated the beast's massive skull, blackened and perforated, from what remains of the monster,
Cremated.
and a handful of soldiers who reported after the blast are hard at work filling in the pit with earth. Tomorrow, we shall bring the skull back to Avignon and collect our reward. May 30th, 1883. Disaster. We were hailed as heroes by the army when we arrived in Avignon with our prize. In the morning light, the Tarasque skull seemed whiter than it had the night before, and more charred flesh stuck to it than it had seemed when we dragged it from the pit, though surely it was little more than an illusion. The four of us posed for photographs, and Mr. Dukov asked to have his photograph taken with his head in between the massive jaws of our fallen prey. Imagine our horror when the jaws snapped shut, severing Dukov's head neatly at the shoulders. The skull of the Tarasque rolled loose from its place on the stage and snapped again, taking another chunk of his body, and the soldiers screamed and fainted as it seemed to be growing a new coating of flesh and scales over its charred exterior. We watched, shocked, as the honor guards fired a volley at the skull. The chips it took off seemed to replace themselves instantly, and I was dumbfounded as sinew and muscle seemed to spread across the creature's bones and knit into shape. The jaws of the disembodied Tarasque opened, and it shouted in French, "Vous me rendez malade." From the other end of the plaza I heard more screams, and looked to see the impossible. The rest of the Tarasque, covered in earth and grime, held together by a few lonely strands of muscle. The headless carcass lurched through the square with uncanny speed, trampling men in its path, ignoring gunshot and cannon fire as it made to rejoin its body. From the corner of my eye I saw Mr. Harris take off running. Mr. Roosevelt noted he was headed in the direction of the bank vault and his secret weapon. As the skull of the Tarasque seemed to be making its way towards where I stood, I gave Harris chase. We found Mr. Harris having dragged the crate out of the vault into the lobby, hurriedly prying the boards loose. Soon the crate fell away, revealing a stone coffin that looked truly ancient. It felt as if all the heat fled the room when the sarcophagus was exposed, and I forced back a shudder as I beheld it. 3 chains with massive locks held the lid in place, and the lid and casket itself were covered with hand-carved runes that looked to be Sumerian or Akkadian. I confess that I have not taken the time to learn the ancient languages of Mesopotamia, but I felt a distinct sense of wrongness emanating from the box as Mr. Harris drew a ring with 3 keys from his coat and began to unlock the seals, one by one. I begged with him to stop this madness and flee while we had a chance, and he insisted that once open, our victory would be secured. Mr. Harris pushed the lid aside and barely had a moment to regard his secret weapon in the flesh before an olive-toned arm, sword in hand, lashed out from within the box and sliced his head clean off. In all my years of adventuring among the primitives and wild men of the world, I have never set eyes on a man who looked so savage, so elemental, so full of primal rage as the being that now climbed from the coffin, naked, sword in hand, its long black hair flowing behind it, its body covered head to toe in tattoos of eldritch imagery and ancient languages that resembled no script written by man. Sherman, the American general, is said to have told his enemies, begging for mercy, that they may as well appeal against the thunderstorm. What I beheld before me, I thought, was the very eidolon of the storm. Mr. Roosevelt attempted to entreat with the man and beg its assistance. Seeming to barely hear him, the God-man set his eyes on Roosevelt and lunged with his sword. Roosevelt parried with his rifle, the barrel cracking under its onslaught, and in surprise the God-man dropped the blade. Roosevelt picked it up and attempted to return the blow, and in an instant the God-man somehow held another sword in each hand. Mr. Roosevelt did his best to fend off his assailant's onslaught, but found himself cornered soon. Though I am loath to intervene in a fair fight between 2 honest men, I could not bear to see Mr. Roosevelt cut down in the midst of this pandemonium. I drew my pistol and emptied its cylinder, discharging 5 rounds into the God-man's head. Though it should have been dead, the olive-skinned destroyer turned and stared me down. Like the Tarasque, even with half its face gone, it seemed ready to kill. Dropping one of its blades, it moved its hand rapidly through the air and tossed something at me faster than I could react. In an instant, I could not move my arms. The man had somehow materialized a bola, a weapon used by the cowmen of South America to immobilize fleeing animals, and it had tied itself securely around my chest. Another flick, and a second bola struck me around the legs, and I was down on the ground. He approached to land the killing blow, when behind me I saw the outer wall of the bank shudder and give way, and heard that offensive roar. The cry of the Tarasque, nary a scratch upon it, as it entered the building in search of its would-be slayers. The God-man caught sight of the Tarasque and lost interest entirely in Mr. Roosevelt and I. This, I thought, must be why poor Mr. Harris considered him his secret weapon. This avatar of rage lived to fight, and in the Tarasque it had the ultimate rival. To describe the fight that ensued between those two unkillable titans would take 100 pages or more.
Come on now.
Mr. Roosevelt and I huddled in the safety of the bank vault, which alone seemed immune to the destruction the two rained upon each other. After the better part of an hour had passed, hundreds lay dead around them, the center of Avignon little more than rubble. The God-man was missing an arm and half a leg, an eye, and the better part of his brain, and his stomach had been cut open. In a state where most men would be long dead, it continued to fight, severing even its own entrails and making weapons of them. The Tarasque had suffered as badly. It was on the ground, recuperating, when I saw the God-man take notice of Mr. Dukov's pitch-blende gun, lying near what remained of the stage that an hour ago had been the site of such jubilation. As we watched, the God-man removed the core of the pitch-blende gun with an uncanny precision. He made what seemed to be bombs and explosives appear, and it strapped them to the device's core, which he mounted on his chest. Lighting a fuse, it charged at the Tarasque as it readied itself to meet him. Having seen the fury of the pitch-blende gun in a controlled state, Mr. Roosevelt and I had no desire to see what happened next. We retreated into the vault as a blinding light filled the square, and a blistering wind, mightier than the hurricanes of the Caribbean, slammed the door shut and sealed us within. It is dark. The light from my electric torch has provided just enough luminescence by which to write this account. I know not for how long the air in this vault will last. Aside from the lifeless body of Mr. Harris, there's nothing in this vault that approximates food or water. And as Christians and gentlemen, Mr. Roosevelt and myself have sworn not to pursue that dark path, unless our lives themselves are on the line. I do not know if I will make it out of here alive. If I do not, let this diary be my last word and testament to the horrors that have befallen this corner of the world. June 13th, 1883. Providence smiled upon us after all, in the end. On the morning of the 1st, the vault door opened, and I regarded a major of the army and a company of men searching for survivors. Mr. Roosevelt and I were dehydrated and beginning to suffer from pitch-blende fever. Fortunately, I knew the address of one of my dear friend Henry's associates in Marseille, and upon being transported to hospital, he met us there and provided the treatments necessary to stave off the certain death that malicious ague carries with it. Colonel D'Enfontaine is dead, I have learned, and at least 10,000 others who were incinerated when Avignon was consumed by flame. Even those who had survived, I learned, have been burned or blinded, and pitch-blende fever will likely claim many of them in time. No sign has been seen of the Tarasque or the God-man since the explosion, nor, for that matter, of the icy sarcophagus in which he had apparently slept until the late Mr. Harris loosed him upon the city. It will take years, if not decades, to restore this ancient region to its former glory. We were two of only a handful of witnesses to one of the greatest disasters to strike France in recent memory. And having been at the center of it all, the army regarded us with great suspicion. We were interrogated several times, first by soldiers, then by police, then by politicians. A man who looked English watched and took notes, but said not a word as we told our story. In the end, we escaped transportation to Devil's Island, but the reward that had been promised was forfeit, and we were sternly warned that neither of us were welcome in France again, so long as we lived. The explosion that claimed Avignon was seen for hundreds of miles, I learned, and the press from Paris to New York were heavily embroiled in speculation. Everything from a falling star, to a German superweapon, to the wrath of God himself was being proposed as an explanation. We were warned not to share our personal knowledge of the event with others as we were sent on our way. Mr. Roosevelt and I parted ways in Calais. He intends to return to America, he informed me, and pursue a political career. In that, I wish him well. I returned to my house in London this afternoon, and was informed by Deeds that a postcard had arrived for me this morning. The handwriting in the brief, unsigned note within resembled that of the strange Englishman who had attended the questionings, whose notes I caught brief glimpses of from time to time. I present that message below. To Lord Theodore Thomas Blackwood, CBE. The Royal Foundation for the Security, Containment, and Protection of Anomalous Objects and Phantasmagoria requests a meeting for the purpose of negotiating an alliance favorable to both our parties. Please call any time, excepting Sundays, at number 19, Marylebone Road, Westminster, and ask to speak to Dr. Thursday. Your discretion is requested in this matter. I have not heard of this foundation before, and I do not know if I intend to take them up on their mysterious overture. Perhaps I shall hear them out, but I have never been one to serve in one man's employ for very long, and I value my freedom as a naturalist and explorer above all else. We shall see.
I with that. You know what I'm talking about? No, that was deep. That was deep. How they like, you know what I'm saying? Okay, make y'all tell me, you know what I'm saying, what y'all think about that in the comment section. You know what I'm saying? Let me know in the comments. How y'all feeling about that video, man? You know what I'm saying? What y'all think about this scenario? What do you think about this monstrosity? What the man? What is that, bruh? What is that? Who made that thing? And for what? I mean, one purpose. But I'm not gonna say man. A man couldn't have made that. Cause yeah, y'all be stupid as hell. To have made something like that, y'all damn self. Y'all dumb as, you know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna, you know what I'm saying? We just got to call that for what that is. You dumb as hell if you made that. You feel me? Cause you, bruh. Listen, if you ain't got a God body, bruh, you ain't finna do nothing with it. What? What you saying? What you saying? You finna do something? What kind of weapon you got? What you working with? Because you see what they had to get? They basically had to get a primordial, a celestial god type figure to take care of this thing. The level of understanding that you don't have to be tampering with such stuff. Don't go there. Please don't go there. For all our sakes, don't do that. Stay away. Stay far away. Why? I'm just talking about the splicing aspect. Just don't. Just no. It's bad enough it's gotten where it's gotten, and you know what I'm saying, the trickery that was pulled in order for certain things to take place already as is. You know what I'm saying? No, y'all need to cut that. Y'all need to cut that out. That's not. Look what it did. Hypothetically speaking, look what it did. Look what it did. Alone, by itself, just one. Look what it did. I'm just saying, look what it did. That thing, I don't know. I see. That's what I'm thinking in my head now. It's like I don't understand what makes y'all think like that you can control such animals and such beings when you create this stuff. You're basically, the brains are already scrambled up, you know what I'm saying? Because it don't know what to do, it don't know what to think, and it's basically got that natural instinct is to fight or flight, you know what I'm saying? And with it knowing itself already because of what it is, like the nature of it understands what's going on. It don't understand what's going on, you know what I'm saying? So it acts out, and it's just straight gonna always be a raging monster overall. You know what I'm saying? Like, this neural linking, controlling type deal, which y'all think y'all got on something like that. It's like you make it, but you don't realize that you're not strong enough. And you don't understand the capabilities of such animal when you put these things together. All that splicing. You know what I'm saying? You get 20 different damn aspects of 20 different animals, you know what I'm saying, spliced into one thing. And that thing don't know what to do. Can't think properly. Function correctly, you know what I'm saying? That's why its only nature is to be a beast, an animal, like they like to call it, savage. You know what I'm saying? A savage, straight savage. All they want to do is unalive some shit. You feel me? That's it. Dealing with stuff like this when it's all spliced up and stuff. You feel me? So, Academates, listen. They neuralize people like a mother. You know what I'm saying? Like things be going on, man, and folks just don't be remembering because the way they get, the way they do it. You know what I'm saying? The way I'm telling you, bro, they slick with it. But y'all make sure y'all keep your head on the swivel. Watch out for anything that's looking kind of crazy, bro. You know what I'm saying? Just watch out, man. Listen. Just watch out, man. Just take it from me. Just watch out, man. It don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Hypothetically, metaphorically. You know what I'm saying? Metaphysically, spiritually, however you need to look at it. You know what I'm saying? Especially spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally. You know what I'm saying? Protect yourself and watch out, man. It going down out here, y'all. It's lit. It's lit. And these people got some stuff going on. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, nowadays, you know what I'm saying? Like, who wants to say it ain't more of them things out here somewhere that's just been acting up? You know what I'm talking about? And the only account that they got of it for real is Lord Blackwood when he wrote about it. You know what I'm saying? And now y'all trying to reach out to Blackwood because y'all say he get down like that. So now y'all trying to see, you feel me? Like, yeah. Like, well, I mean, just be trying to make the boy D-class. You feel me? Like he done put in some major work. Lord Blackwood done put in some work. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Don't try to D-class folk. But at the same time, folk, you don't need to be, you know what I'm saying? You don't need to be dealing with him for real. I wouldn't even deal with him for real, Blackwood, for real. I wouldn't, man. You know what I'm saying? Like consultant, maybe. You feel me? But I feel you. I'm with you with what you said. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't trying to be tied down with, you know what I'm saying, like that. You know what I'm saying? Not with people that I don't know. You know what I'm saying? With my familiars, yeah. You feel me? Pack life all day. You feel me? With the Academy, we can rock it out. You know what I'm talking about? But we ain't gonna just be linking up with anybody. Because everybody don't have our, you know what I'm saying, our, you know what I'm saying, greater good and our, you know what I'm saying, our better interests at heart. You feel me? So we gotta look out for each other around here. You know what I'm talking about? So y'all make sure y'all take care of yourselves out there. Keep your critical thinking cap on. Keep that CT on. You feel me? Don't turn that John off. You know what I'm talking about? Don't let too much go over your head. You know, you try not to let anything go over your head, but just get yourself prepared. You feel me? Because they gonna try to throw a whole bunch of monkey wrenches and some stuff. You know what I'm saying? To keep people confused about what's really going on out here. You know what I'm talking about? And that's why we over here, y'all, to find out what they got going on over here. So we can get to, you know what I'm saying, the bottom of some of the things that's going on out here. Because, you know what I'm saying, you know them shadow boys back there, they ain't gonna say nothing. and they got the shadow ban on me for whatever reason, you know what I'm saying? Y'all ask them, you know what I'm saying? If for whatever reason, I ain't did nothing. We just talking about SCP as far as I'm concerned. You know what I'm saying? We supposed to be securing, containing, and protecting something. So I'm trying to see what we securing, containing, and protecting. You know what I'm saying? Because they definitely ain't protecting us. You feel me? So y'all be good out there. You know what I'm saying? Stay tuned for the next one. We shall return as always. You feel me? Meet your boy at 7. You know.